There's a lot of games, so we don't have a lot of time, so we're going to run through it here, and then we're going to jump over to our segment number 3. Number 23, finally, another ranked ACC team that's not Wake Forest. Number 23, Virginia Tech travels to Virginia. Hendon Hooker, playing great, stays in the pocket well, not afraid to take a hit and still make a play. Bud Foster, final season. His defense is playing on a different level since losing by 1 point to Notre Dame. What you got? Virginia Tech -2 right now out of the gate.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week, but we talked about how the Hokies are playing so much better since they went to Hendon Hooker and stuck with him at quarterback. Their only loss being a 1 point loss to Notre Dame. And found out before the show actually that he was actually hurt that game, so they held him. And they went to their backup QB, still only lost by 1. So it would have been a real interesting game had they had Hendon Hooker available for that game. So look, the Hokies have flat out dominated this series. They have won 15 in a row. All right, and they are playing much better football. Virginia's they're doing okay, but they're kind of limping more to the finish than the Hokies are. So I'm taking Virginia Tech minus the points to cover and meet Clemson in the ACC championship game.
Ooh, Virginia Tech minus the points to cover and make it to the ACC championship game. Well, Alan, you're 61% against the spread. I think you might be even higher now, 62. You had a monster week. By the way, don't do what I did last week. I picked every underdog possible, and I lost every single one of them. I didn't pick every one. I picked about 9 underdogs. I lost every single one but one. Alan, do you know what game I won as an underdog?
I have no idea. Give the fans a little taste.
Freaking Miami and Florida International. Number 4, Georgia at Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech was just blanked, but Georgia Tech was blanked by Virginia Tech, but then turned around and beat NC State in a game that I said they wouldn't beat them, but they did. So, but Georgia coming out a 28-point favorite. So can Georgia beat Georgia Tech by 4 touchdowns? I know Georgia Tech is bad, but Georgia doesn't score a lot of points.
Yeah. First of all, I want to clarify in that epilogue you just gave us. Okay, did you pick Virginia Tech to cover the spread, or did you pick Virginia?
I'm just going to say every team you pick, I'm picking. I can't afford to lose anymore. I can't afford it. So
Virginia Tech. So basically, you just need my opinion on all these picks.
That is exactly how we're going to go with this.
All right, cool. Well, in that case, look, I'm interested to see, who takes Tech in this game, because Georgia has no offense. Okay, Georgia has no offense. Like you mentioned, they cannot score. I hope Stephanie's listening to this. Okay, we all know and love Stephanie. I hope she's listening to this, because I'm taking Georgia to score some points and beat Georgia Tech by the spread. Obviously, rivalry game. Georgia Tech has been able to keep some close in years past. And I'm taking Georgia to cover the spread and hammer the Jackets, because I just don't believe in Georgia Tech whatsoever, even though they're playing a little bit better football lately.
You can trust in Blankenship, and he by himself is going to beat Georgia Tech. I can just tell you that right now. I know it's a rivalry game. I get it. It's a new team, new coach. But Rodrigo Blankenship's going to be bouncing field goals off of those high-rise buildings out there, just scoring left and right. Now, Georgia may not score a touchdown because they just seem to just break down when they get to the 20-yard line. But Blankenship does not break down. Man, he is automatic. I look for Georgia to beat Georgia Tech by more than 28 on field goals alone, Al. Record 97 field goals. That's what I'm going with. Louisville at Kentucky. This is a pretty good one. These teams, I believe, are very similar. I have a feeling Scott Satterfield, man, after only winning 2 games last year, now Mike could have 8 wins this season. Mm-hmm. Kentucky as a favorite, -3. What you got?
Look, I went back and forth between this one a lot. This is one that could actually change by the time the weekend comes. Louisville's been a really hot pick for me lately. No doubt about it. They've done well for me in picks against the spread. Their offense has kind of come to life a little bit. But Kentucky, for the most part, seems to play decent at home and has the better defense for sure. And don't forget, SEC, my friend, I'm taking the Wildcats to cover.
SEC. Oh, come on. Why you got to say that? Look, Scott Satterfield, ACC Coach of the Year, already said it. He's going to do it. They're at home, I believe, right? It's in, let me just double check.
Kentucky.
It's at Kentucky. Oh, man. See, I was going to give them that. I was going to give them at Papa John Stadium. Can I say Papa John Stadium? I don't know if you can even say that anymore.
I'm not sure if you're allowed to say that anymore.
Oops. But I got to go on a limb here. All right, I'm not going to pick everything like you, because then obviously I can't at least have a chance. I got to have a chance, right, to beat you. So I'm going to take Louisville, but I'm going to go with the ACC team if you're going to go with SEC. I didn't realize that you were turning to Paul Feinbaum over here during this show.
But awful. I hate it. I hate myself for it.
Next, Wake Forest at Syracuse. Wake -4.5. Now, Wake Forest lost Sage Surratt, lost their starting linebacker. Syracuse just horrible on defense.
Yeah, I tend to agree. This is actually, I have wrote down for this one, and in my notes, I have written down for this one, excuse me. I really don't like either team. This could be one of the games that changed by game time. It's actually what I said for the last one as well. But I am begrudgingly taking the Demon Deacons in this one to cover. Syracuse has just been awful. Their only decent spot over the past few games is when they obliterated Duke, and Duke has just been terrible. So I'm going to take Wake Forest and assume they muster up enough offense to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take Wake Forest on this. I mean, Syracuse, I don't even know what they are right now. I mean, Boston College at Pittsburgh. Pitt -9.5. This is one I kind of struggle with because BC is coming into Pitt fighting for bowl eligibility. Mm-hmm. Pitt just lost their hopes to get into the ACC championship. I'm going to go ahead and tell you BC has more to play for, so I'm picking Boston College plus the points.
Morgan, I could not be more disappointed in you after this, okay? The only thing Boston College can do is run, okay? And Pitt has the 6th best rushing defense in the country. You have talked about that every show since I started on the show, that you love rushing defense, and now you're going to pick against them with Boston College. I can't believe it. I even have in my notes that I stole your thunder because I assumed you would talk about the rushing defense, and you didn't. All right, I've never been more disappointed in my whole life. I'm taking the Panthers to cover. Give me Pitt -9.5.
But you forgot the second part of my speech, and that was I'm picking BC if I'm crazy and don't look at the rushing defense. So now I'm picking Pittsburgh. Actually, you don't know or not, I have Pittsburgh down on the piece of paper, or do I? Miami at Duke. This is another one. I tried to look at stats. I tried to look at previous games, history, Wikipedia, Google, Bing, Yahoo. You can't find answers for this game.
Yeah.
Miami goes to Duke. Miami -7. Can Miami beat Duke by more than a touchdown?
Look, good luck trying to find information on this game. Like you said, Google and past games, not gonna really help you this year. I mean, they've been so up and down this season. But last year Duke beat Miami, all right, to get their 3rd win in the series history. Okay, only their 3rd win. Okay, after they got pummeled by the Panthers last week, Miami. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing for the ACC, how embarrassing for the Hurricanes and that proud tradition in general. Okay, goodness gracious. The Hurricanes are going to be angry, out for revenge. Give me Miami minus the points. I'm counting on the Hurricanes. I'm counting on my friend Russell to pull them through because he's a big Kane fan. So hopefully they can work some magic and take over the Dukies.
Give me Miami as well. I just don't trust Duke right now, even at home. Next up, Tar Heels, North Carolina versus the Wolfpack, North Carolina State. -8 points for this game, going to NC State. So I believe, based on how Sam Howell has played, based on what Mac Brown has done to this team, they deserve to go to a bowl game. But can they get the win? Can they get their 6th win to do it?
Yeah, and I think so. We talked about, and you mentioned just a second ago, Sam Howell. I think he's the reason, to be honest with you. I think he's done a really good job, and I think he's going to kind of be that person. I think that's the kind of guy that's going to lead them to the win. They're playing pretty good football right now. NC State has kind of fallen on hard times, so I'm taking UNC to cover -8.
Give me UNC as well. Florida State at number 11, Florida. This is not going to be good for the Seminoles. This will be a game where we mainly be a primetime game, but it's probably going to be nothing short of a beatdown, I believe. But can Florida in Gainesville beat them by more than 17? The spread is right now -17. Florida being the favorite. I don't see how Florida State can hang with them past halftime, really, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Florida to cover.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I really think if this game was at Florida State, I might give them a little bit of credit and just a little bit of kind of save face. Like show them we're not really buried in the sand completely like everybody wants to believe. And Florida State comes out with some heart. But I don't think so in this game. I don't think in the Swamp they can handle it. I'm taking Florida -17.
All right, let's get into our ranked versus ranked matchup. This one starts us off believe number 18, Cincinnati at number 17, Memphis. Memphis minus 10. I looked at the public consensus on this game. 50-50. It's a toss-up between who picks what. Both teams are coming into this game 10-1. Memphis is averaging 42 points per game. A little bit better on defense statistically on paper. So give me Memphis at home to outscore the Bearcats and win by more than 10.
Yeah, I think the Memphis offense at home is too much for a kind of up and down Cincinnati team. I'm taking Memphis minus the 10 as well.
Next up, number 7, Oklahoma at number 21, Oklahoma State. This one's pretty tough for me because Oklahoma has been letting teams get close. They've won these games, but they've only won by a few points. They haven't been blowing people out like they did at the beginning of the year. Their defense is starting to let people score 20, 30, 40 points a game. I know it's been close, but I think Jalen Hurts can have success passing the ball. Oklahoma State has a hard time passing the ball. My father-in-law told me, don't pick Oklahoma. Pick the points in Oklahoma State because Oklahoma State can score. I just don't see it. I think I'm going to go with Oklahoma in this sense. It's getting close. It's that championship phase. They know they have to do what they can to try to jump into that 4th spot in the playoffs. So they got to win this game. This is a ranked game. Then they roll and probably play. I believe they're going to play Baylor. So these are 2 big games, 2 key games that they need to win. And I think they need to win pretty convincingly to try to jump some people.
Yeah, and what I actually do with these games when I pick these games is I kind of go with my heart and my head immediately and just kind of make a pick, and then I go do a little research. And I actually had Oklahoma State picked, plus the 12 at the beginning of this. Oklahoma's kind of survived a couple of close games. I think they should have lost, including this past weekend against TCU. But the Cowboys lost their starting quarterback and beat a bad West Virginia team only by a touchdown, okay? I want to believe in the underdog. I really do, but I think the push for the playoff takes the Sooners over the edge. I'm taking Oklahoma minus the 12.
All right, number 13, Wisconsin at number 9, Minnesota. Wisconsin going to Minnesota as the favorite by 2 points, minus 2. This is the fight for the Big Ten division, for their side of the division, and whoever wins this game will go to the championship game. It's a toss-up for me too, man. This is one where Penn State came to Minnesota, and Minnesota showed up and beat them. But Wisconsin has this ability with their running game and with their defense to just hold on to the ball a lot. And so I got this feeling that Wisconsin is actually going to make it. And they're going to beat Minnesota. And they're going to go into the Big Ten championship game. So give me Wisconsin minus 2.
Wisconsin minus 2. All right, look, I think the Golden Gophers can rebound from their loss 2 weeks ago to Iowa and give the Badgers a little bit of trouble on offense here. Like you said, when Penn State came to town, they were able to take care of them. I'm actually taking Minnesota cover and win outright here. I think Wisconsin a little too slow on defense. I think the Gophers will be able to give them some trouble on offense and score some points and score just enough to win the game. So I'm taking the Gophers.
It's hard for me to not pick the Gophers because their quarterback, Morgan, hey, got to go for him. I just don't think – I feel like possession is going to be a big deal. Penn State had a chance to win that game against Minnesota, so it wasn't like a blowout even though they kind of started off fast.
Yeah.
They kind of slowly let them come back. I think I just feel like a running team on the road in a big-time game like that, better defense and a better running game, I'm going to go Wisconsin in this case. Number 5, Alabama at number 16, Auburn. Alabama minus 4, traveling to Auburn. Any doubt that we had about Mac Jones being a big-time player? He came out 275 yards passing, 3 touchdowns passing. He's got playmakers around him. He just got to throw them to him. I feel like Auburn's a really average team. So I'm going to take Alabama in this case, minus 4.
Yeah, I think Saban understands that the only way only chance they have to make the playoff is to make a statement against Auburn this weekend. I think they get it done, especially with the help, probably the officiating crew just a little bit, a few calls here or there, just to kind of give the SEC that chance to get that second team in the playoffs. I'm taking the Tide to cover.
Number 2, Ohio State, last one of the night. Number 2, Ohio State, and number 10, Michigan. Ohio State minus 9. Now, Al, if you've watched the show at all, you know that there is no way I'm picking Michigan. So I know it's at home. I know they got a lot going for them. They do pretty well at home. But Ohio State has got such a good defense. They've got an offense that can attack you multiple different ways. And this is going to be another top 10 win for them. That's really, in my mind, not a top 10 win, even though I do believe Michigan is the best 2-loss team in the nation. But I just don't see any way Michigan can stop that Justin Fields running on third down. We know what he's going to do. They can't stop it. And I'm going to go with Ohio State to cover -9.
Look, Michigan has turned the corner. We like to make fun of them at the beginning of this year a lot, and I had a lot of pleasure in doing that. But they've played a lot better the second half of the season for sure. I like Harbaugh as much as I don't like to say this, but I like Harbaugh to come dangerously close in this one. All right, to getting over the hump and finally beating Ohio State at home. I don't think they're actually going to make it, but I do think they are going to cover at home, make this playoff thing really interesting. If they were to win, it really makes things interesting for sure. But I'm going to take the Wolverines to cover plus the 9.
Now, I know what you're thinking. What about the Clemson versus South Carolina game? That's a big game that we want to talk about. Well, that's going to come up in segment number 3.